What is going on today? Different type of video. I don't even know. We'll see how it works. We'll see how it goes. But my name is Black Bond, as you all know. If you don't know, check out my channel at Black Bond. Check out my latest videos, including GTA 6 Hacker Arrested. I was wrong about women that play video games. They are amazing. And Weapon Wheel Podcast suspends Kids Move for baldness. Yes, I repeat myself, for baldness. Also, check out Blaze 4K's channel. I was on the Sodcast last night with him, BitCloud, and Solid Rev. Cool little conversation. As always, we have the Woken Will Podcast Sundays at 5:45 p.m. Eastern, not Central Shokyo time. And we'd appreciate anybody that joins in to, give us likes, share our videos, favorite our videos, share our content. If you enjoy our content, we do have the After Dark, which is one of the most entertaining things here on YouTube. I highly recommend it. And as always, you can check me out on Twitter over at the Black Beer Eye. So today's video, it's going to be a different kind of video, people. Also, I am not dressed up today because it's Sunday, it's rainy, and I'm casual. Excuse my casual demeanor. So today's video is going to be a response to ReviewTechUSA clearing the air and watching Jordan Peterson. I have never been so disappointed in a video from Rich in my life. And I don't hate Rich. I'm not subscribing from Rich. I'm not unfollowing Rich. Before I upload this video, I will definitely let you know, Rich. But boy, this was a video of videos. I mean, I don't even know what to say, but I am going to say something. So we have to hear every day, we have to hear it about how, let me bring this up real quick, about how men are toxic, how men need therapy. Why can't guys open up? Why can't guys be vulnerable? Why do guys gotta be macho? And yet, the second a man expresses himself, shows vulnerability, opens up, shows emotion, or talks about things, the world can't handle it. Men get clowned for it. They get made fun of. They get torn down. Hell, even worse, they may even get canceled. So I don't understand why the world says that men need to open up, be more vulnerable, express themselves, when we've seen it. When men do this, they receive nothing but negative reactions. Unless what you're saying is what, the overlords want you to say, or the popular opinion wants you to say, or the non-rock the boat faction wants you to say. And that's not true expression. Expression, showing your opinions, your emotions, your vulnerability, is saying what you mean, despite if others won't agree. But unfortunately, men can't afford to do that these days. You just can't. And even worse in this whole situation, Rich, I mean, you're talking about marginalized groups, and then you get offended when these people in this video are talking about men being marginalized, talking about how come you don't talk about purple people, or tree people, or orange people, or, I don't know, black desk, or brown desk, or Nintendo, or PlayStation, or whatever the topic is. You're saying, why are you talking about Group A instead of, why aren't you talking about Group B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, whatever? You know what that sounds like to me, Rich? That sounds like all lives matter. That sounds like when one group of people were protesting, another group of people were saying, but what about us? What about everybody else? And to me, that's kind of bull. That's kind of bull. No matter who you are, no matter what group you represent, you should be able to air your grievances. You should be able to talk about things that affect you without somebody jumping down your throat saying, oh, well, how come you don't talk about this? Or how come you don't talk about that? Or what about these? Or what about those? That's bullcrap. I can't get down with that. I'm sorry. So, we're talking about marginalized men. And these men are getting made fun of. They're being called the I word. And I'm just going to say the I word because I'm not trying to get in any trouble. I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers and things of that nature. I think calling people the I word is a load of BS, in my opinion. because nobody chooses to be that. Nobody wants to be that. They are put there because they are being marginalized and society does not respect them. Society holds no value to them. I mean, look, when we get down to it, if men did not exist, the world would go back to the Stone Age and the Dark Age in a matter of days, period. Automotive repairs, 96% dominated by men. Warehousing, 92%. Forestry, 89%. Land transportation, 88%. Construction, 86%. Plumbing, post office, agriculture, farming, computers, fishing, motion picture, video, television, communications, publishing. We can go further. Electricians, HVAC, automotive servicing, painters, construction, ground maintenance workers, pipe layers, plumbers, pipe fitters, carpenters, mechanists, drivers, truckers, maintenance repair workers, industry, refractory machine mechanics, industrial truck and tractor operators, police officers. The entire world, the infrastructure, is predominantly run by men. The jobs that people don't want to do, being in the sewers, being in the gutters, being on oil rigs, being in the mines, those jobs are done by men. And yet the men that do these blue-collar jobs, they get no respect. They get nothing. They get looked down upon like they're grunts. They're not good enough for the rest of society because they work with their hands. And to me, that's bullcrap. Because without these men that do these jobs, me, you, the women, our parents, our grandparents, our kids, whoever, they don't get to enjoy the world. We used to live in a world where women had to, hand wash things. They had to hang clothes on a clothesline. Now we have air fryers, ovens, stoves, washing machines, dishwashers, dryers, electric vacuums, robotic vacuums. We have everything, every appliance in the world essentially invented by men to make everybody's life easier. And yet these people get no respect. None. Speaking of respect, power. I've always said it. If men weren't here for more than a day, the world goes back to the Stone Age, goes back to the Dark Age. Coal and nuclear plants would run out of fuel or shut down quickly without workers. Nuclear plants should automatically shut down too. The engineers who designed it were smart. Now our plant would break down per se, but I expect both coal and nuclear to stop generating power inside of 24 hours. Now, one could easily say women could do all of these jobs and all this work. But the bottom line is women attend college way more than men and still do not go into these fields. You lose power in 24 hours, thus you lose power, you lose water, you lose electricity, you lose communication, you lose databases, you lose everything. What's going to happen to the world? And yet the people that make this world run for us, Rich, are not respected. They don't have high-end white-collar jobs. They're not CEOs. They're not entrepreneurs. They're not business owners. Your everyday rank-and-file man is completely disqualified by most women. Male privilege. Let's go into this. Suicide rate is 4 times higher in men than women. Workplace fatalities, 93% men, 7% women. Partly because all these jobs right here that keep the world going, women don't want to do. Homicide victims, we hear about, how the world is so dangerous for women. Yet men are 3 times more likely to be victims of homicide. Speaking of which, the world does not come to save men, Rich. It doesn't. Homelessness, 61% of men compared to 39% women. You can't just go out and marry a woman that's going to take care of you. You can't just go on the internet and, show pictures or do any kind of Twitch or YouTube or any kind of risque thing and make money. If you are a man, you have to dig it out of the mud. Nobody is coming to save you. You can't go on dates and get free food. You can't go out and expect to say, oh, if you want to talk to me, you have to pay my bills. You cannot do that as a man. Combat deaths since the first Gulf War, 97% men. We already went over suicide victims. Industrial deaths and accidents, 93% men. Winner of custody, 84% women. Yeah. You're married or you have kids and it doesn't go right, 84% of the time, going to the woman. Homicide victims, we already went through that. Average sentence by gender, almost 4 times as much. Actually, no, a little less than 3 times as much. You were sentenced to, for the same crime, you were sentenced 3 times as long as a woman. But hey, none of this is real. Men are not marginalized, Rich. And then we're going into the thing where we're calling men the I word, that men cannot find women to be involved with, that men cannot find women to be with. We already know that, 40% of men reproduce and 80% of women reproduce, which means that women are sharing men because the top men eat, average men don't. But 90% of women are looking for 6% of men. Look at this. From 5'11", at 30%, it jumps by double, almost 60%, just for 1 inch of height, Rich. Even before anything, even before, your personality, your job, how well you can speak to people, what you do, what you look like, they've already got you filtered out. You are working at, the average height of a man is 5'8". You're at less than 15%. Right out of the gate. And we want to talk about, men aren't marginalized by, crazy expectations from the opposite sex. How men rate women, how women rate men. I mean, men are pretty balanced. Most men find average women attractive. It is what it is. It's a nice, concise bell curve. Yet when we look at how women rate men, they rate the average man as least attractive. And most attractive is 2% of men. Whereas with men, it's 15% of women. Just is what it is. And we can go into things like this. How to make a man happy. It's really not that hard. It really isn't. Let's get a nice little zoom in here. Get a nice little zoom. Food, sleep, peace, don't annoy me, don't bother me. And yet, how to make a woman happy. Be a friend, be a companion, be a lover, be a brother, be a master, be a chef, be an electrician, be a mechanic, blah, blah, blah. It keeps going. It keeps going. And that's not being stereotypical. It's that women have way more demands on men than men have on women. And average men just don't make it, Rich. They don't. By definition, you're an average man, you are marginalized. But we see the top men, the top 1/100% in people like Bezos and Gates, and then we judge all men on the apex fallacy. Listen to this. I need you to listen to this.
I would say enough to live a life of leisure, in a sense. Not have to worry about your rent, your utilities, stuff like that, but also obviously a more desirable man would be able to take care of our kids, of myself, of our older parents. So I would say somewhere between 400K to wherever. There's no bar.
So, to be a man, you got to make 400K as a 23-year-old. I don't even need to tell you what fraction of a man makes that. You not only got to take care of yourself, you got to take care of her, and you got to take care of her family. This is what women are looking for, Rich. Average dudes can't do that. This is why they say 80% of men are invisible to women. Because women are all chasing the top 20% of men. That is what it is. And I had that graphic up here. I don't know where it's at, but maybe I'll bring it up again soon. But let's continue listening.
23, if I were to be dating a man right now, 80K is pretty good. 80 to 100K is what I'd be looking for. Yeah, somewhere around 80 to 100K in your mid 20s.
I think six figures is definitely decent for, it's a little, you got to work hard for it nowadays, but for an income, you know, to create a family and things of that nature, like at least 100,000 is acceptable.
Are you seeing this, Rich? 80 to 100K, 400K. These are top 10. The average woman wants a man in the top 10%. And then you wonder why men feel marginalized. Because 90% of men will never make it into the top 10%. Just like 90% of women won't make it into the top 10%. But the difference is men are a little more realistic in how they view things. This is how men date. You know, if you're a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're a 5, you can go up to a 6. You can be at a 5. You can go down to a 4. You might go down to a 3, and so forth. You're in your range. But with women, doesn't matter what your range is, they all want the top. That's how it works. I mean, you're looking at it right here. Skewed to the top. Men have it nice and even. You're looking at it right here. Skewed to the top of height. You're looking at it, where was the last one? I don't even know where I'm at anymore. Don't even know where I'm at anymore. But you get the idea. They want the top 10%. So where does that leave the other 90, Rich? Feeling marginalized, even though they are the people that make the world go round. No respect for making literally the world function on a day-by-day basis. Let's just say hypothetically you're a teacher. You can't even date any other teacher. Because while a woman being a teacher thinks that's a great career, they will detest any other man at their job because you're a teacher. You only make 40, 50, 60,000. Doesn't work, Rich. Doesn't work. And the funny thing is, we see men getting shamed every day for dating younger women. Every day. And yet these women in their early 20s are looking for guys that make 80, 100, 400 grand. The only guys that make that kind of money are older men. It is what it is. I mean, let's look even further. Even a woman's talking about.
For settling for Mr. Good Enough. Lori, look, feel my pain for a second. There are a lot of lonely men out here who are good guys. But women and this list, it's maddening. Make the argument at the center of your book, please.
Okay, I'm not telling anybody to settle for somebody that they're not totally in love with or physically attracted to or anything like that. The book is based on a survey where men and women were asked if they got 80% of everything they want in their ideal mate, would they be happy with that? And women said, no, that's settling. And men said, 80%, I'd be thrilled, that's a catch.
Do you realize how ludicrous that is, Rich? You could be 80% of what they want, and 80% of women say that's not enough. And yet they're 100% right. An average dude, I can get a woman that's 80% of what I want, sign me up. If you had 10 things on your list, and you had 8, I think a man would be ecstatic. But you have 10 things on your list as a woman, and they meet 8? Oh no, they don't meet 9 and 10. Not enough. Oh, I'm sorry.
And so
80% to the women you surveyed is settling?
That's settling because, the question is, what actually makes us happy in long-term romantic love? And, that's the question that I explore in the book. And I'm a journalist, so I went out and I asked neurobiologists about chemistry, and I asked behavioral economists about demographics, and I asked marital researchers and divorce
What did they say?
lawyers.
What did they say? What did they say?
And, the thing is, we're too picky about the things that don't matter at all for long-term romantic happiness, but we're not picky enough about the things that actually do matter.
Okay, so break that out for me. What are women? It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple with men. Come on. What are women too picky about here?
Well, I'll tell you, men and women were asked what would be a deal breaker for going on a second date. And men named 3 things. They said she has to be cute enough. She doesn't have to look like Angelina Jolie. She just has to be cute enough. She has to be warm and kind. And she has to be interesting to talk to. Those seem like really valid criteria.
Ding, 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 ding. Pretty simple.
Right. Okay, reasonable, right? The women came back with 300 things that would...
300 things, Rich. 300 things. As opposed to 3.
Rule out a guy for a second date. And we're talking about like another 2 hours and maybe a free dinner. And they wouldn't do it. And there were things like he wore a brown belt with black shoes. Or we were having a really good time, and I thought he was cute and he was interesting, but then he did this Austin Powers impression, and I just can't get that out of my mind, and I can't go out with him again.
Okay, here you go.
And
so, can I make your other point, and then I've got a quick one for you before I
was
lose
just
time.
going to say, Austin Powers guy could be the love of her life. If he does these impressions on the second date, okay, don't go on a third. But maybe he was just nervous. The guys who are bad first daters might be great life partners. You don't.
But they'll never get a chance. They'll never get a chance. And then dudes end up in the cycle of dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of first dates. And what do they got to show for it? Let's do a quick calculation. Let's say you go on 2 dates a month, right? I think that's reasonable. 2 dates a month. So that's $200. Times 12. $2,400 a year, right? So let's say you start dating at 18. We'll go to 30. So that's 12 years. That can't be right. No way that's right. So 200 a month times 12 times 12. Yeah, so that puts the average 30-year-old at close to 30 grand in debt, Rich, over this never-ending process of a game they really cannot win. And look, I'm not hating on women. I'm not saying they should change whatever. I'm just reporting on the rules. These are the rules of the game. Whether you like the game, hate the game, you win at the game, lose at the game, I'm going to tell you right now, I win at the game because I fall in this 6'5" category, which is the second highest percentile. So I'm doing well for myself. It's not me complaining, but it's me showing you what this is. $30,000 in debt for dealing with bullcrap by age 30. And I can guarantee you there's men going out on more than 2 dates a month. There's men being in relationships that probably don't serve them that are also spending way more. And what are they getting? What do you get? What is the grand prize you get if you actually win this game, Rich? Numerous studies have shown, in fact, that nearly 70% of divorces are initiated by women. This is according to a 2015 research conducted, blah, blah, blah. Among college-educated women, this number jumps to 90%. So we'll just split the difference and say 80% of the time, women are divorcing you. And if you can't keep up with this whole thing of happiness, you're most likely going to get divorced. And if you get divorced, you're most likely, where's that stat? Going to fall into this 16% of men who don't get custody. And then potentially you might fall into this sector of men, 80% of men that are devastated from losing their kids, devastated from losing their assets, devastating from losing everything they invest in, and you might end up in this category right here, Rich. So, I think it's pure insanity to say that men that are dealing with all of this, dealing with this lopsided game, dealing with being called toxic and misogynistic and all these other things, dealing with the fact that they have to repress themselves from being a man, from being expressive, from being opinionated, from being emotional. Otherwise, they'll get looked down upon, made fun of, canceled, demeaned, and basically get harsh reactions made towards them. Yeah. You know what? I would say that definitely is a pronounced marginalized group. And that's coming from me as a black man saying this. This is why I was absolutely disappointed and absolutely disgusted in your video. And the fact that these men were having a conversation and you weren't exactly, responding to them, but yet you were basically pausing it every other minute to make fun of them. Now, I vehemently disagree with pretty much everything you said, but I'm not making fun of you. I'm not clowning you. I'm not making fun that you're getting emotional or crying or being straight and stoic or regardless of how you want to act. But the stats and the reality are here. I mean, think about it. Once a girl turns 18, she has all the power in the world, Rich. I've been down to Miami on trips and there's college girls walking onto yachts. There's college girls going into VIP, hanging out with rappers, celebrities, VIP, bottle service. How are men their age supposed to compete? They can't. This is exactly why these girls in their early 20s are saying you got to make 80, 100, 200, 400, because they can go out and interact with men that make this money. But the average guy, let alone the average guy their age, let alone younger men, do not make this money. They don't. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. They don't. And I have younger cousins in college right now. And the college experience seems absolutely terrible now. From what my cousins have told me, you're a man. You're not on the football team. You're not in a frat. You're not in any of these high-end, high-networked places. You're pretty much crap out of luck. Because all the girls want to go after the guys in the frats, the guys that are heavily networked, the guys on the sport teams, etc. If you're not in those groups, you're done. Because if you're not in those groups, what happens is this, Rich. A girl simply pulls out her phone. She can hop on Bumble, Tinder, Hinge, Instagram, Facebook, whatever dating app or networking device there is. And why is she going to hang out with another 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old guy in a dorm who's broke when they can go out and hang out with a guy that's graduated, that's established, has his own car, his own place, his own house, his own career? These young guys these days stand no chance. None. And yet this man right here is trying to speak to them, get yourself in order, clean your own room, build yourself up. It's unfair, but this is what you have to do. Nobody's going to do it for you. Yes, you're marginalized, but toughen up. It is what it is. Nobody's going to help you. You got to do it yourself. And he's trying to spread that message, and you're acting like this situation doesn't exist, and you're acting like this guy is being a lame and a loser for simply coming out and stating reality. Unbelievable. Truly unbelievable. Are there other oppressed and marginalized groups? Yes, there are, Rich. But right here, they were talking about men. So your whole, what about group B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, X, Y, Z? I'm sorry, it comes off as all lives matter. If a woman or anybody else, whatever, were to get up here and start complaining about things that negatively affect them, I wouldn't get up here and say, well, what about this group? Or what about that group? Or how come you don't talk about this? Or how come you don't? Because that sounds insensitive, Rich. And I'm sorry, your whole video sounded completely insensitive. really got nothing else to say. This is a very different kind of video, a very long video, but I'm Black Bond, and I'll catch you guys next time.